Hello and howdy everyone. Going to do something a little bit different today. I recently was in a automobile accident, was laid up for several days recovering. I'm still recovering. I've always wanted to know what my favorite X-Men film was. And I knew it was either X2, X-Men United, or X-Men 5, First Class. I knew hands down that that was the competition. It was 2 versus 5, and I just wanted to know, for once and all, which my favorite film was. So I will be reviewing both of them. Compare, contrast. At the same time. I watched them relatively back to back. I don't like to marathon things in the same day, so I at least I watched X2 first. I wondered, which do I watch first? Do I watch timeline wise first, or release date first? So I went with release date. So I watched X2 first. Slept on it the next day, watched First Class. Long story short, I think First Class wins. I think it's my favorite X-Men film, but just by a nose, just by a hair. I think both films are, I don't really have any problems giving them a 9. I think they're, enjoyable. When I was sick as a kid, laid up in bed, stuck in bed, I just do nothing but read comic books. And now, when I'm older, 35 years old and sick and laid up in bed, I can watch comic book movies. So I watched a few comic book movies. It's just, it makes me happy. It makes me happy, brings me peace. So I think they were both successful on that level. So I don't really have any problems giving them a 9. At least there's nothing kicking in me too hard when I say that. When I saw X2 in the theaters, I thought it was great. I thought, wow, what a great movie. After I saw First Class, I didn't necessarily think that. Obviously, there's, a quite amount of years difference there. X2 came out in 2003. And let's see, First Class, where is it? 2011. So, what is that? 8 years? So again, a little bit of difference in me and in film itself. The only reason I think First Class edges out X2 is because of the team dynamic. I thought it handled the variety of characters better. X2 did a good job, a good team movie. It's just that for too long, I forget, and the movie forgets, about certain characters. Like here you see him on the back of the box, but really no reason. Poor Cyclops is barely in this movie. He's, I don't know what else to say. He's barely in the movie, except at the end when he has something very tragic happen. And so we are witnessing, and we're supposed to sympathize with this character who's lost everything that he's cared about. And he has, very emotional scenes. He has to do some powerful acting. But yet we spent no time with him. We don't really care. It's like, this guy shows up at your party and just starts being dramatic and intense. And you're like, who is this guy? Where's he been the whole time? And now he's making a scene. That's kind of my problem, my issue with X2. Cyclops is just the central figure, the most obvious, but like at the beginning of the film, Storm and Jean Grey are, kind of ignored. We're shown what they're going to do for, basically they go and capture Nightcrawler, get Nightcrawler to come along with them. And then after that's done, we don't see them for a long time. In such a long time, it's like when they reappear, it's like, oh, yeah, okay, these guys are in the movie. What were they doing? Oh, yeah, they got Nightcrawler. There's Nightcrawler. It didn't handle that team element, character interplay as well as First Class. I thought First Class not only gave an equal amount of time to all of its characters, even its minor characters, and certainly its villains, that I pretty much got, I felt like I cared about everyone. I will say that there are moments of cheese in First Class that are not in X2. I felt that X2 was pretty much straightforward, wanting to be very serious, very real world, with the fantasy comic book situations. I think with First Class, they're not so concerned with that attitude. They're willing to have a little bit more fun, willing to be a little bit more cheesy. I think that they balance each other out, to where it's pretty equal. But just by a hair, just by a nose, I'm going to say First Class. Just because those moments of cheese are few and far between, and in their way, kind of charming. So I definitely didn't mind. All the acting is great across all films. Hugh Jackman, I think, is the only one that's in both of them, and only for a little bit in First Class. X2, you've got your standard X-Men team. You've got Halle Berry, Anna Paquin. Who else is in this movie? Patrick Stewart, Famke Janssen. I can't remember who plays. Oh, James Marsden. You've got your villains. You've got Sir Ian McKellen, Rebecca Romaine Stamos, or whatever her name is now, and the human, the real bad guy in this one. What was his name? Gosh, I can't read this writing at all. Man, I don't remember his name. Oh well, I can't. He plays Colonel William Stryker. God, I can't read any of that crap. Alright, maybe if I hold it at this angle. Alan Cumming. Alan Cumming is Nightcrawler. He does a great job. Brian Cox, that's who I'm thinking of. Really kind of played that same character after he was in that either the first or second Bourne movie. He may have been in both of them, but after that Bourne movies, he played that same character for a few films. All the acting is great, across the board for X2. Same with First Class. Yeah, here we've got a younger crowd playing the X-Men. We've got a young Magneto played by Michael Fassbender, young Professor X, James McAvoy. Also got Jennifer Lawrence as a young Mystique. Let's see, who else is in this? January Jones, God, looking beautiful as the White Queen. My favorite piece of casting in a while, Kevin Bacon. Kevin Bacon is Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw, one of my favorite villains. I like the Hellfire Club because of its connection to the Dark Phoenix saga, which is again another reason I love X2, because it teases the Dark Phoenix saga perfectly, where X-Men 3, X-Men United is a cinema abortion of the story that just made me weep with rage and anger. Who else is in this movie? I think I got the biggies. But again, all the acting is very good, again, across the board for both films. Both films, again, X2 was directed by Bryan Singer. First Class was produced by Bryan Singer. I believe all of the X-Men films have been produced by Bryan Singer, for better or worse, keeping it at least the same feel. Definitely varying degrees of quality. But he's now going back to the director's chair for First Class 2. Let's see here. Matthew Vaughn did First Class. Let's see, he did Kick-Ass, right? He did Kick-Ass. Also co-wrote this. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed watching both films. I thought they were both really good. I don't know what else to talk about. They both look good. Special effects outstanding. Well directed. Well acted. Fun. You know. Yeah. You know. I really. I don't know. I'm struggling to think of anything else other than I, thoroughly enjoyed watching them again. And I'm glad that I did. Made me feel happy. And now I know. I was like, they're both great. I'd say they're both 9s. I just think that First Class just... If someone asks me, hey, what's your favorite X-Men film? I'm going to say First Class. But X2 is just right there, just right there. But something about the First Class, messing with, history. It is about basically the Cuban Missile Crisis and how Sebastian Shaw is responsible for the Cuban Missile Crisis and who knows what else going on at the time. I think that's very clever. That was super clever. To have that alternate history script. Here we've just got a lot of mutants are the next step. Learn to excuse me, learn to accept everyone. Stuff like that. Yeah, okay. I think I'm pretty much done. Good stuff, definitely 2 highlights of the comic book genre of film. So there you go. There's a comparative review, attempted to at least, of X2, X-Men United, and X-Men 5, First Class. Thank you very much for watching. They're both solid 9s. Please to enjoy.